So do we need to go through this this stuff at the beginning?
Oh, well, you can start with item 1. I suppose it would just be worth noting that the meeting is being recorded.
Okay. So item 1, the election of the mayor. How could you tell us who you have on the who's been proposed?
Councillor Border has just joined us. So I have 2 nominations for mayor. I have a nomination from for Councillor Lay, proposed by Councillor Hulbert and seconded by Councillor Drummond. I have a second proposal for Councillor Jeffreys, proposed by Councillor Appleby and seconded by Councillor O'Neill. I propose in terms of the vote that if I was to call out each councillor who's here in alphabetical order and ask them how they vote. What I might just do is, because it's actually quite hard to see where everybody is, I might just unmute so I can speak to each councillor in turn.
Okay, so is that a recorded vote then?
That will be a recorded vote because it's the only way to be clear about how each councillor has voted.
Okay, right.
So if you're happy with that, I'll call each councillor's name and ask how they vote.
Okay.
So Councillor Anderson has not joined us. So then Councillor Appleby, how do you vote?
Councillor Jeffreys.
Councillor Border? You're muted, Councillor.
Sorry, Councillor Jeffreys.
Councillor Jeffreys, thank you.
Who was that?
That was Councillor Border. Councillor Bowen. Sorry, can you say that again? It wasn't clear.
You said Councillor Jeffreys.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. Councillor Speaker, you're muted.
Can't hear you. Can you unmute, Sarah?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Sorry, she was unmuting me while I was being unmuting myself, so
I see. Sorry.
kept muting me again. Sorry, I'll abstain.
You'll abstain, right? Okay. Councillor Diath.
Councillor Lay.
Councillor Drummond.
Councillor Lay.
Councillor Fitzgerald.
Councillor Jeffreys.
Councillor Hurst has been unable to join us. Councillor Hood.
Councillor Lay.
Councillor Hulbert.
Councillor Lay.
Councillor Jeffreys.
Councillor Jeffreys.
Councillor Kirby.
Councillor Lay.
Councillor Lay.
Councillor Lay.
Councillor O'Neill.
Councillor Jeffreys.
Councillor Yarrow. Oh, hang on. Warwick is just now joining the meeting. Councillor Yarrow.
Councillor Jeffreys.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Hurst, are you able to hear us? Councillor Hurst, can you hear us? Councillor Hurst, can you hear me?
Yes.
We're just doing the vote for the mayor. We have 2 nominations, one for Councillor Jeffreys and one for Councillor Lay.
Yes.
And I have just gone round all councillors asking them how they vote.
Yes.
And could you please tell us whether you vote for Councillor Jeffreys or Councillor Lay?
I vote for Councillor Jeffreys.
Excuse me, did Andrew vote?
Yes, he did.
Oh, I never heard him.
I didn't hear him.
Yeah, he did.
Andrew Appleby.
Yes, he did. He was the first to vote.
Okay.
Okay, so I have 6 votes for Councillor Lay, 8 votes for Councillor Jeffreys, and 1 abstention. So I therefore declare Councillor Jeffreys the elected town mayor for the municipal year 2020-21.
He's the Labour guy. I can't believe they put Leia. You know, if they put someone like Sarah, they probably would have. No, I'm unmuted. They probably would have got.
Can you mute her, Deborah?
I don't know who it is that's speaking, so I will have to mute everybody.
Deborah?
Yes, I'm muting everybody because I don't know which individual it was. So I will now unmute Councillor Hood and Councillor Jeffreys.
And I wanted to say congratulations, Councillor Jeffreys, and may I wish you a very good term of office. Congratulations. And I'll take off my mayoral chain. And Councillor Kirby wanted to say something, I think.
Deborah?
Yes.
That's Kirsten on the other line.
Okay. Well, I've muted everybody for now.
Okay. That is Kirsten Lindsay who's on the line.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Just so you know.
Okay. Thank you.
I think. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. Thank you, councillors. I hope to serve the town to the best of my abilities. I would like to thank Councillor Hood for all the hard work, commitment she has shown over the 2 years that she has been mayor. We're living through such unusual times, it makes our roles significantly more difficult. But so far, our response has, I believe, served Newmarket well. I do need to remind myself, perhaps as well as you, that you've conferred on me 2 roles. First, to represent Newmarket at civic events and functions, and the second is to chair council meetings. And really, that is in essence my major role, is to make certain that our council meetings are able to proceed in an appropriate way. But also to enable every councillor to be heard and to encourage every councillor to fulfil their potential so that we may all contribute to making Newmarket a town of which we can all be proud. My guiding light will be the words of Ian Kirk, who believed that the town council could be such a positive force for good in the town, so long as we work together. We'll move now to item 2 on the agenda, which is election of deputy mayor.
Councillor Jeffreys, may I just remind you, you need to sign your declaration of acceptance of office, please.
I will do that now. And I'll show it up to the screen. It can be seen that I have signed it.
Can you just raise it up just a little bit for me, please? Yep, thank you. Thank you.
So, moving to item 2, election of deputy mayor. Do we have any nominations?
Yes, I have 2 nominations, both of them for Councillor Kirby. Councillor Kirby was proposed by Councillor Diath and seconded by Councillor Caesar. He was also proposed by Councillor Appleby and seconded by Councillor O'Neill.
Okay. I should ask at this point, are there any other nominations? Well, in that case, I intend to suggest that we vote with a show of hands, as there is only one candidate. I think it won't be too difficult if we put our hands clearly up to the screens. All those in favour of Councillor Kirby?
I'll vote for myself, shall I?
Yes, please do.
9, 10, 11, 12. I can see 12 votes in favour on the screen. Councillor Appleby, how do you vote? Councillor Appleby is muted. Just bear with me while I unmute, while I find him and unmute him. So sorry. There he is. It won't let me unmute it for some reason. Ah, here we go. Councillor Appleby had
Councillor Kirby.
Councillor Kirby. And Councillor Hulbert.
Councillor Kirby.
Councillor Hurst. Councillor Hurst. Ah, sorry, apologies again. He is muted. I will unmute him.
Vote.
Sorry, Councillor Hurst, can you repeat that, please?
I'm voting for Councillor Kirby
Right.
as Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I think that's unanimous.
And congratulations, Councillor Kirby. Everyone voting for Councillor Kirby. And
Thank you.
I hope I can work very well with you.
We will.
Item 3, I think we've
sorry,
already...
sorry, Councillor.
Ah, yes.
We're all hoping that, mate.
Declaration of acceptance of office. Thanks, Tom. Thank you.
Okay, can I move on?
Yes, you may move on.
Item 3, I think we've covered. The meeting is being recorded. Is anyone else recording the meeting?
Members of the public won't be able to report that because they've all been muted.
Okay, well, let's leave it that way, shall we? Are there any apologies for absence? Deborah, any apologies for absence?
No, I have no apologies for absence.
Okay. Item 5, declaration of members' interests, and to remind councillors of the need to keep up to date with their register of members' interests and to consider any requests received from members' dispensation. Any declaration of interest? Then we'll move to item 6, to receive and confirm the minutes of the Town Council meeting held on Monday, the 4th of May. And first of all, going through for accuracy, and as is usual, I'll go through page by page, starting at page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and page 5. Page 4, Councillor O'Neill. Page 2, Councillor O'Neill.
Oh, thank you for unmuting me. I can't hear myself though.
You,
Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
All right, that's probably all right. I've looked through the video of the last meeting, and I believe there's an inaccuracy on page 2 of the top page 2 for the recorded vote. In the video of the meeting, councillors Lay and Drummond both raised their hand to vote for the proposal, and then subsequently say they're abstaining at a later date. And I think that's on the video and quite clear on the video, so we just need some clarification.
Would you like to move that amendment?
Yes,
You'll need to move that as an amendment to the minutes.
Yes.
Okay, is that amendment seconded? That's Councillor Bowen has seconded that. So this is about the accuracy of the minutes, and Councillor O'Neill is suggesting that Drummond and Lay should be in the votes for column as opposed to the abstentions column. Have I understood you correctly, Councillor?
Yeah, that's right. And they can't have two votes.
Councillor Drummond.
Yes, you can hear me, can you? I'm unmuted.
Yes.
Yeah, actually what happened was I did put my hand up, but Deborah did not record the fact that I had my hand up. So I actually, later on, put my hand up and abstained, and that's what was recorded. So I abstained as far as I'm concerned.
Councillor O'Neill.
If I may, when the vote was taken, Deborah read out names and she missed off Councillor Lay as well, and Councillor Kirby pointed that out. But it was so another councillor actually points out that Councillor Lay voted for and then said to abstain.
Okay. Councillor Lay, do you want to add anything to this before I go to a vote on the minutes?
No, I don't think it makes any difference one at all. So, you know, there is no point in
No,
thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lay. Okay, it has been moved and seconded that an amendment be made to the minutes. Is everyone clear what the amendment is? We will vote on that amendment. If it is successful, then we will vote on the completed minutes. If it is unsuccessful, then we'll vote on the minutes as they stand. Is everyone clear about that?
Yeah.
Councillor Kirby.
Can I just?
Yes.
It's a bit hard for us to vote on something that we haven't seen to verify. That's my only. I know Chris has probably looked at it, or Councillor O'Neill has looked at it. It's very, very difficult for us as councillors to vote on something that maybe they haven't all seen the video to quantify that. I understand what Councillor Drummond just said, that he did originally vote, but Deborah didn't count him, and then he abstained. And Councillor Lay is not concerned. I don't really know. Well, are we going to achieve anything by changing those minutes?
I think the way out of this, and sorry, it's the only way out I can see. Clearly, we're not in a position to review the recording. If you feel that the evidence of the recording is the most important thing, then you should abstain on this vote. If you are confident that the minutes are inaccurate, as suggested by the recording, then you should vote for the amendment. And if you're opposed to changing the minutes, then you should vote against the amendment. Councillor O'Neill, you have one last thing to say as the proposer.
Well, I was just saying that Councillor Drummond said he put his hand up to vote for it and then took it down because he wasn't counted. So we don't need video evidence for that.
Thank you, Councillor O'Neill. I'm going to end the debate there. So can I see all those in favour of the amendment as proposed by Councillor O'Neill? Can you put your hands up to your screens now? 1, 2, 3. Can I see all those against? 1.
Councillor Holbert, how do you vote?
I'll go with the last one against.
Councillor Holbert is against. Councillor Appleby? Hang on, I'll just unmute Councillor Appleby. Councillor Appleby?
Abstain.
Are you abstaining? Councillor Hurst?
I vote for the amendment, but I
Okay, so that's 4 in favour. 4 in favour of the amendment.
Can I see abstentions now, please?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 abstentions.
Well, it doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't, does it? 7 abstentions because Councillor
Appleby abstained.
Councillor Appleby abstained. Yeah, 4 in favour and 2 against. So I get 4, 7, 11.
I'll tell you what. Can I vote for it?
Councillor Drummond, you're voting for it.
Yeah, I'll vote for it.
Okay. So that's 5 in favour. So I think that's carried.
Okay, thank you very much, councillors. We now, unless there are any other questions about the accuracy of the minutes, we will now vote for the amended minutes. And I see all those in favour of the amended minutes being an accurate record. Please raise your hands now.
Okay. I'm voting for them as an accurate record.
Thank you, Warwick.
Thank you, Warwick. Councillor Appleby.
I think we have a clear majority in favour of that.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure that all councillors can participate. Councillor Appleby, you voting in favour of the minutes?
In favour, yes.
Councillor Holbert?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm hoping that we can proceed with the rest of the meeting a little bit more smoothly. Otherwise, it's going to be a very long meeting. We now sorry, and I'd almost forgotten, we now have to look at the matters arising from the minutes. We've agreed on their accuracy with the amendment, so that we now go to matters arising. Page 1, page 2, Councillor O'Neill.
Again, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Councillor
Right. The minutes raise the question of a contract being agreed by just 2 members of the council when it should have been the decision of the HR committee or full council, preferably. So with that in mind, I propose that we write to our external auditors to seek their view as to whether this action was within the authority of those councillors and whether it has incurred additional and indeed unnecessary expenditure to the council. I further propose that we seek the advice of SELC, the Suffolk Association of Local Councils, as to whether these councillors have acted outside of their powers.
Okay, we have a proposal on the table. I'll come to you in a second, Councillor Hood. Is that seconded?
Second.
And Councillor Appleby seconded it. Councillor Hood.
It's not permitted to reopen, as the acting town council manager has sent us this detail, it's not permitted to reopen discussion on the decision recording in the meetings, e.g. under matters arising, unless there is a specific item on the agenda relating to that decision and subject to standing orders specifying that it will be reconsidered.
This is a matter arising, I believe, that we can accept, but I will confer with the town council manager.
Well, if councillors are uncomfortable about considering this matter when it doesn't have a specific agenda item, it can agree that it would make it an agenda item for the next meeting of full council for consideration at that time.
I will go along with that then.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
So we need to vote on that, town council manager. Is that correct?
Yes, you'd need to make a resolution to consider the proposal raised by Councillor O'Neill at this meeting, at the next meeting of full council on the 1st of June.
I don't think we can do that, sorry. I think you can put it on the agenda for the next one, but I don't think you can have a resolution based on this information that you sent us.
I think that's the point. We will put it as an agenda item.
Yeah, make it as an agenda item, it's fine.
Okay, so the proposal is to have an agenda item to consider this issue. I need someone to propose that.
Sorry,
yes,
with respect, I'm not sure you can do that according to this documentation that the acting town council manager has sent us. I think you can put it on the next agenda, but I don't believe that you can actually make a resolution as you're proposing. So I think the simple solution is just to stick it on the next agenda. But according to this, it's not permitted to reopen discussion on the decision recording in the minutes, e.g. under matters arising, unless there's a specific item on the agenda relating to that decision and subject to standing orders specifying that will be reconsidered.
Thank you, Councillor Hood. I'm going to accept that view, and it will simply be something to go on to the next council agenda without a resolution, without a vote at this stage. So I'm sure the town council will make a note to include it, and we will therefore continue with matters arising, so that page 3, page 4, and that is, I think there is nothing on page 5. So we will move on to public participation and an invitation to members of the public to put questions and statements of not more than 3 minutes duration. Resolutions can only be made on items on the agenda, but councillors are very happy for matters relating to the town to be brought to their attention. Do we have anyone wishing to speak to the council?
So that question can be answered, I will unmute everybody so that members of the public may indicate whether or not they wish to speak to the council.
My name is Douglas Hall. I'd like to say something.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take Douglas first.
I just wonder whether we could establish if anybody else would like to speak, and then I can mute everybody again, and we can continue to manage the meeting.
So does anyone else wish to speak? If so, please indicate now. I'm taking that as a negative, and therefore we can turn to Douglas Hall.
Just please allow me first just to mute everybody, and then I will unmute the appropriate people. Sorry, Douglas, you're unmuted now.
Thank you. May I congratulate the new town mayor and deputy mayor on your appointments, and I would like to thank the outgoing mayor for her kind words in this week's local paper. And on behalf of the coronavirus volunteer group, I wanted to thank the councillors, the council staff, and in particular the acting town council manager for their huge and ongoing effort to provide a helpline for the coronavirus crisis here in Newmarket, and also for providing coordination via the coronavirus response steering group. I think what has made Newmarket's response to this crisis so successful is the non-political nature of the response and the bringing together of so many disparate groups working together for the common good, many of whom had not previously worked together. I hope the council is able to continue to support this goodwill in future for the benefit of the town's residents, even once we get through this terrible crisis. I believe Ian Kirk had plans along these lines, and it would be a great way to honour his memory. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Douglas, for those words. We'll now move on to item 8, committee meetings, and we have to consider to receive the minutes of the development planning meeting held on the 11th of May. So Councillor Lay, would you like to present these minutes?
Yes, of course. I have pleasure in presenting the minutes of the DMP held on the 11th of May and seek their adoption. There are no recommendations.
The town council manager has advised me that we should receive these minutes rather than adopt them, as there are no recommendations. So that's something slightly new for us, but the result is the same, that we do need to receive them. Can I see all those in favour? Is it proposed that we receive them? So I need a proposer. Thank you, Councillor Drummond, and seconded by Councillor Caesar. And all those in favour to receiving those minutes?
Okay.
And those against? That's unanimous as far as I could tell. Moving on to item 9 on the agenda, terms of reference for working groups. I believe, Councillor Hood, this is something you wanted to put on. Would you like to speak?
I just need to unmute you. You're ready to go.
Thank you. I'm still mystified as to where the terms of reference are for the F&P working group that took place last Monday, and having taken advice, etc., there don't seem to be any terms of reference. That's number one. And number two, it's clear that you can have recorded votes in working groups, but could somebody point me to the terms of reference? Because I'm told that we don't have any, and that's my concern. If I can be shown the terms of reference, then I can be quite happy.
I certainly don't intend to answer every question from the chair, but on this one, my understanding was that the working group was agreed back on the 30th of March, if I remember correctly, at which it would consider the financial implications of the coronavirus crisis on the council finances, and that was its only terms of reference. And if I could expand on that, because I'm a great fan of working groups, that in fact they should be almost single item references, and they have a task to solve, and that is my understanding. Any other councillors have a view on this? Councillor O'Neill.
I've read through the minutes, and I see that the terms of reference are what the proposal is for that group, for that working party, and it was made to review the budget in light of the projected impact of the coronavirus pandemic on budgeted income. and it was agreed. The proposal actually came from Councillor Hood.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did. The proposal, it happens at 1 hour, 18 minutes and 50 seconds. You propose, I believe it's 50 seconds, but if you look back at the video recording of the meeting on May the 4th, you proposed it. Councillor Jeffreys was saying, you first suggested it, Councillor Hood, because Councillor Jeffreys said we should hold it sooner rather than later. You proposed we have the meeting, and our acting town council manager said that because it wasn't a committee meeting, it was only a working party meeting, it didn't require 3 clear days notice, to which you replied, that all seems entirely satisfactory. And
Can I come back on that?
Yes, of course, Councillor Hood. Please.
Okay. I still don't believe that we have appropriate terms of reference, so I think that we need to ask SALC if we do have appropriate terms of reference. And anything I may have said was under the understanding that we were having an informal finance and policy meeting, not a completely different group, because we didn't have any terms of reference. So I still don't see any terms of reference, and I hope that clarifies. So we need to, I mean, I find it very strange that those words count as terms of reference, because if you read standing orders, which I'm sure none of us want to particularly, it says under standing order 31, the council may create working parties, blah, blah, but it must determine the terms of reference and membership as for a committee, etc., etc. Sorry, I'm not sure if Warwick is speaking to us.
No, I don't think he realises that he's not. He's
okay.
In any event, I
Hood,
need to clarify that, because I personally cannot see the terms of reference are there.
So this is, I think, an interpretation of standing orders. Do you actually want to make a proposal at this stage, or would you like to, later on in the agenda, we are considering standing orders, and that could be one of the things to look at within standing orders.
Happy to do that, but I think we also need to clarify with SALC, you know, whether we did have standing orders for this.
That becomes a different resolution, isn't it? So would you like to make a resolution on that, to that effect?
I don't think so. No, I'm just going to take it away. And
okay, and you can report back to us.
Yes, I can.
Excellent, thank you. That's very helpful. Okay, so moving on to item 10. We're now looking here at the standing orders as received at the February meeting, which discussed the committee membership, and we need to agree to amend standing orders to that effect, and that has been done. That was in your pack. I think it's page 25 of your pack, and effectively the amendments only apply to standing order 30. So you've got the minutes of that workshop, which was accepted by the February Town Council meeting. We now need to agree to accept those changes to our standing orders. So I'd like a proposal to that effect. Councillor O'Neill, is that seconded by anyone?
Seconded.
Councillor Drummond has seconded it. Do we want any further discussion on this? Town Council Manager.
I just wanted to bring to councillors' attention before they voted that there is one other slight amendment to standing orders, which relates to item 35F, where I have amended, replaced the words Forest Heath with West Suffolk. And just so that you're aware of that.
Yeah, for completion's sake. And you accept that, Councillor O'Neill, in your proposal?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. It has been proposed and seconded. I'm assuming no one's indicating they wish to speak. Can I see all those in favour, please?
Yes.
And those against? I think that's unanimous on that. We now go on to item 11, and this deals with committee membership. We've this afternoon received the committee names of those that you want to be on. And Town Council Manager, we need to accept this document, receive the document.
The councillors need, the council needs to approve the committee membership. So you will note that Councillor Lay is included on every committee. That was in the event that he was elected as town mayor, but he indicated earlier in the day that if he is not voted in as mayor, he would prefer not to be on any committees. I just wanted to confirm with Councillor Lay that that is still the case.
That's correct. I won't be in the country, so it's difficult to attend.
Right, well, that is good. Well, okay, so omitting Councillor Lay.
Councillor Kirby would like to speak.
Yep.
Councillor Kirby.
I'm not sure if it's the right time, but just based on committees, I've always thought that leisure services and community services possibly should be one committee. We have a lot of crossover with those two committees between myself and Councillor Dia, and I just wonder whether this is the right time to combine those two committees.
Councillor, I was going to suggest that Councillor Kirby proposes that a working group be set up to look at our committee structure. I don't think we can do it certainly tonight.
No.
But I think there have been some interesting proposals from various people about our committee structure. It could be under the next item on the agenda, the committee terms of reference, we could include to consider actual committees themselves, because there is a suggestion, for instance, that the neighbourhood plan should have its own committee to oversee how we move forward on the community actions relating to the neighbourhood plan. Would you like to make that additional proposal to, in fact, item 12 of this agenda? Councillor Kirby?
Yes.
Thank you. Town Council Manager.
I just wanted to make the point that as part of the workshop discussions held back in January, we did talk about the possibility of a review of the committee structure overall, but in relation to a strategy plan, so a strategic plan for the council going forward, so that committee review could be focused on delivering the council's strategic plan. So I wonder whether a review of the current committee structure might be a bit premature, and we could perhaps the new clerk would be in a position to take forward a review of the council's priorities and therefore the committee structure to deliver on those priorities.
I'm looking for a way to move forward. I think we are all agreed that we need to look at the committee structure. We need to agree what the terms of reference of each of those committees are, particularly in relation to what recommendations and resolutions. I'm looking for some assistance from councillors. I think a proposal that considers all of those, including committee structure, would suffice, even if it meant a working group meeting over a longer period of time, would be my view. Is that acceptable to you, Councillor Kirby?
Yeah.
Yes. So we've moved on. First of all, let's deal with this. Do we need to vote on these committee membership?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do that. Can I say all those in favour of accepting these committee memberships?
Yes.
And
I don't have the specifics of who's on which committee.
That's all right, I can provide it.
Thank you.
Okay.
And any against? Okay, so that's accepted. We now move to item 12, which effectively we've moved into in our discussions, which is committee terms of reference. We're also looking at committee structure, and the idea is this will come through a working group. And if I can just emphasise the value of working groups, is that it means that councillors can be quite open in their discussions. We can open up the debate, but anything that comes from a working group has to come back to full council. It can only be a recommendation. And it might be certainly possible out of a working group that you have two recommendations, opposing recommendations, if there is a group who thinks one thing and a group who thinks another thing. But the idea is to get some of that debate going so that it doesn't take up meetings, because something like this is really quite complicated and will need some individual effort in terms of checking out what our standing orders should be and how it all fits together. Now, on a time scale, I find this really quite difficult. And it may be that we should wait until our new town clerk is in post so that she can work with us to make these changes. How do you feel about that? Is that okay? So with the acceptance of including the committee structure, then we will set up a working group and that will be put into place when our new town clerk is in position. So I'm proposing that from the chair, something I'll try not to do too often. Is that seconded, Councillor O'Neill? Thank you. All those in favour, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you want to consider membership of the working group now?
No, I think we can do that nearer the time.
Okay.
But the point is the resolution is there, we will have a working group. So moving on to item 13, representatives on other bodies. You had a sheet in your pack. I think we probably ought to go through it individually. So that at the moment, starting at the top, Twinning Association, it's the Town Mayor and Deputy Town Mayor.
What page is that?
Yarrow.
Councillor?
Councillor Yarrow?
Yeah, well, sorry, what page are you on?
Right, it's actually page 35
Thank you.
of the whole 110 pages.
Thank you. That's fine. Got that. Thank you.
And I'm looking at the top of it, Twinning Association, Town Mayor and Deputy Town Mayor. In other words, it's, if you're in that position, you represent the council on the Twinning Association. Is that acceptable to councillors?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favour on that then?
Yes.
Thank you. I think that's agreed. MARPA, Peter, this is you. This is the railway body that you've sat on for a very long time. Would you like to continue, Councillor Holbert?
Yeah, yes, he would.
Okay. Are there any other proposals? Okay. So all those in favour of Councillor Holbert?
Yes.
Thank you. The Newmarket Rail Group, which I always imagined was part of MARPA, but obviously is a different organisation. Councillor Holbert again? Is Councillor Holbert happy?
Yes, he's happy to continue.
Yes. Any other nominations? All those in favour?
Yes.
Thank you. Newmarket Vision Steering Group. Of course, this came out of the debates that we had about Newmarket Vision, where we felt there was an underrepresentation of the town council. I believe we asked for 4 representatives, didn't we? But, I'm looking for some advice here from the town council manager.
Yeah, yes, we requested up to 4, but we don't have a decision on that because meetings were suspended for the pandemic.
Okay. So it would make sense for the town mayor to be on that, and I'm happy to do that. Do we want to have sort of reserves in case they do allow us to increase our representation? Councillor Kirby, you're putting yourself forward?
Yeah, well, it's just the item below that is Newmarket Town Vision and Retail Economy Tourism Group. Are we going to join that as into the Newmarket Steering Group, or is that going to be a separate outside body?
Well, this is one of the Newmarket Vision subcommittees.
Right. Okay.
And in fact, I've served on that. I'm never quite certain in what role I serve on it. So, and I believe I'm still a member of it. It just isn't meeting at the moment.
Right. Okay.
So just to go back to the Newmarket Vision Steering Group, this is the one that sits over those subcommittees.
Mm-hmm.
So would you, as Deputy Mayor,
yes,
on it?
Yes.
So I'm proposing Town Mayor and Deputy Mayor. And if we get permission to have more, we will seek further representation on that steering group. Any other views? Can I see all those in favour then, please? Thank you. That's agreed. So now the Town Centre Retail Economy. Well, Councillor Hood, you're on that as well, aren't you?
I think I'm on all of these, yeah. But
I think we've lost track of how we get onto these committees. Councillor Kirby, are you happy to go on to that one? Or
Yes, yes, yes.
is there any other councillor which would like to serve on the Town Centre Retail Economy and Tourism Group? We will clearly have one more space.
Don't all rush.
Right, that was a big... Well, I'm on it anyway. Councillor Hood is on it, so we've got pretty good representation.
Yeah, man.
So,
another vision group. This is you, Councillor Hood.
Sorry, Councillor Jeffries. Can I just interrupt you and just clarify that we have resolved as a council that Councillors Kirby and Hood would be our representatives on the tourism group.
Oh, when did we do that? Well, it doesn't matter.
So, that was the one that we were just discussing, but you moved on rather quickly without clarifying with members that they were happy to approve that.
Okay. So moving on to the next one, if I may, the Transport Delivery Group, currently Councillor Hood and Councillor Holbert.
Yeah, can I speak on that?
Yes, Councillor Hood.
Yeah, I'm quite keen to stay on that because in my county council role, they deal with transport and it's not been an easy addition. So I'm happy to stay on it.
It's just like you've already been for.
Councillor Holbert.
Just a moment, Councillor Holbert.
What
Councillor.
night did you want to do? No.
Sorry, I don't think Councillor Hurst is actually participating. Councillor Holbert would like to speak, if that's okay.
Yes, Councillor Holbert.
I'd like to, obviously, I think I was on it anyway, so I'd like to resume to be on that.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Holbert. So that's Councillor Hood and Councillor Holbert. Anyone else wishing to be on that group? So can I see all those in favour, please? Thank you. Anyone against? Okay. The Newmarket Vision Education Group, I would like to be on that. I think I was nominated at one point. Councillor O'Neill?
I'd like to be on that as well, please.
I think I'll do it under my name because I'd like to be on it even subsequent to my mayoral year. So at the moment it stands as the Deputy Town Mayor, which is Councillor Kirby, and myself. Anyone else wish to be on that? Councillor O'Neill?
Councillor O'Neill's put his name
You would
forward.
like to be on it? Well, I would suggest that we propose 3 names then. Is that Councillor Kirby, you want to be on it?
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know. It didn't meet for a long time, but it might meet in the future.
Yeah.
Can I see all those in favour then of Councillor Kirby, Councillor Jeffries and Councillor O'Neill? Thank you. It's very kind of you to... I will remain the representative on the Great Run Local, but it really runs itself. And there's very little input from me other than running occasionally. So I'm happy to do that. Anyone else like to be on that? Okay, you would like to be on it, Councillor O'Neill?
Yeah, I was going to suggest if you wanted to step down, I'd go on it. But if you want to stay on, I'll go on as well.
I will stay on. It really isn't an onerous task apart from the run.
Yep.
So all those in favour of myself remaining on that group? Thank you. Chamber of Commerce, Newmarket and Suffolk. This is a peculiar one.
The council is a member of the chamber.
Oh, right. Okay.
As a corporate.
We can all attend?
Yes, you could.
Okay. Did we get notification then? Councillor O'Neill.
I was going to suggest, why don't we choose 2 representatives to attend?
Well, I think
then we've got named people who'll go rather than nobody.
Yep. Councillor Hood.
Yeah. As I understand, I mean, that's fine if people would like to sign up to that, but I think we pay as a council, and that means that everybody who wants to go can go. But if you want to have 2 lead people as well who want to sign up for it, I'm sure that's fine.
Well, I think Councillor O'Neill's idea is good. If we can find 2 people who are prepared to put their names forward and therefore the extra pressure of attending the meetings.
But we can all go anyway.
We can all go anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Named people. Yes, Councillor O'Neill.
When are the meetings? Does anybody know?
No, I don't.
Councillor Border, you going to inform us?
Oh, hang on. Sorry, Councillor Border is muted. Please bear with me. There you go.
Okay, I was part of the Chamber of Commerce Committee a while back. They normally take place of a morning once a month. I'm trying to remember back exactly when. So yeah, I used to be able to attend when I was running my own business, but unfortunately can't now. Otherwise, I'd have been happy to be on.
Okay, thank you. Do you think it's worth us finding out when they meet and bringing it back to council?
Yes. Find out when they meet and how often do they meet.
Yeah. Councillor O'Neill.
I propose we postpone.
Okay,
this
so
vote.
we refer this to a future council meeting when we have more details about it. Is that
Yes.
second? Yeah, okay. All those in favour? Okay, that's
okay.
Newmarket bid, Deputy Town Mayor. Councillor
Yeah.
Kirk, okay on that?
Yeah.
Any other nominations? All those in favour of Councillor Kirby? Thank you very much. The PCSO and Police and Crime Commissioner, Town Mayor, Deputy Town Mayor and Councillor Drummond. I'm happy to go on to that.
Yeah.
Anyone else wish to put themselves forward? Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah, I don't mind.
You'd like to be on that? Can we have 4? I've no idea. We'll put down 4 and see what happens.
It's Councillor Border indicating he wants to be on
Councillor
it.
Border, did you say you're happy? All those in favour, I think we've got the Town Mayor, the Deputy Town Mayor, Councillor Drummond and Councillor O'Neill. All those in favour? That is agreed. We're getting there. Web and IT development. What is that, an organisation?
What was that one? Sorry, you.
Web and IT development.
Oh, right.
Deputy Town Mayor at the moment, Councillor O'Neill.
I would suggest Councillor Border would be a very good person to do that if he would accept.
And I agree.
Okay, well, there's 2 proposals for Councillor Border, or a proposer and a seconder. Any other proposals? All those in favour?
First of all, would Councillor Border like to do it?
Look,
Yeah,
I saw
yes.
he was smiling. And the Newmarket Festival Grant Subcommittee, which was the Town Mayor. Certainly, I'll be happy to be on that if that's our representative of the Town Council.
Yep.
Okay.
I have had an email from Mark Edmondson, the chair of the Newmarket Festival, who had indicated that he was happy with the current membership of Councillors Hood and Drummond on the Newmarket Festival, and felt that there was no requirement for any other representation. I don't know what the council's views are.
Leave it as it is. Let's have them there and leave it.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Did you hear Councillor Holbert's?
Councillor Holt says leave it, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, he should leave it as it is.
Okay.
We've got Councillor Hood and Councillor Drummond there.
Okay. I put Councillor O'Neill.
I was going to propose the Mayor joins.
Councillor Yarrow, is that seconded?
Hang on, I'll unmute
Seconded,
him.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Yarrow.
So you're seconding Councillor O'Neill's proposal.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Councillor Kirby.
Can I just ask, are Councillor Hood and Councillor Drummond on that committee serving in their West Suffolk roles or in their Newmarket Town Council roles?
Councillor Drummond.
You're unmuted.
Oh, right, I'm unmuted. Okay, so we were put on there by the festival committee because the pair of us are district councillors.
Right.
And the actual festival, if you like, Newmarket is in the middle of it, and it's a donut that includes all of the villages that are in our respective divisions. So I don't think it's the gift of Newmarket Town Council to appoint to this committee. It's the gift of the festival committee.
Right.
And I think Councillor Hood could probably elaborate, because Mark Edmondson has kind of chosen us and wants it to be us.
Councillor Diath.
I'm sorry, I'll just unmute you. Yes, go ahead.
I am on that committee anyway, not in a role as a councillor, but I am on the committee for the festival.
Okay, Councillor O'Neill.
I was going to say, if that's the case, it shouldn't be on this list, and we should just remove it from this list. If the council doesn't have representation voted for it, then it shouldn't be on this list.
The reason I put it on this list was because I was led to believe that Councillor Hood's membership of the committee as the town mayor.
Yeah, but that we've just found out that's not the case. So
yep.
I vote we remove it from the list.
Okay.
I propose. Sorry.
Remove it from the list. If I may, I may, with your permission, with the council's permission, I am also chair of the new coronavirus response steering group, which brings all the different organisations together. There was a request to have representation from that steering group on the grant subcommittee of Newmarket Festival. So what I'd like to do, with your permission, right, I may do it as a chair of the steering group, is to talk to Mark Edmondson and make representations that the town mayor would be a good future, a person who could represent the council on that subcommittee. It may be, as you say, that they don't want representation of the town council, but if I may have that conversation, and really, I don't suppose I need your permission, but I'm telling you that's probably a conversation I'm going to have. I think we probably can leave it at that, unless anyone wishes to add anything. No. Let's leave it at that. So, in fact, that leads us rather neatly on to item 14.
So, sorry, Councillor Jeffries.
Yes.
Councillor Neil proposed that the Festival Grant Subcommittee be removed from the list. I just wonder whether...
I'll withdraw that. I'll withdraw that.
Withdraw what? Sorry.
I'll withdraw my proposal.
Okay. So have council as a body agreed that to remove
Council as a body have not agreed anything, and I've taken a responsibility to seek further guidance from the festival subcommittee.
Okay.
Wasn't seconded, so.
Okay.
So moving on to item 14, the coronavirus response, to receive and note the minutes of the steering group held on the 5th of May. And I'll present these as chair of the steering group. We do have to note them. I will say that I never ceased to be impressed by the hard work of all the different organisations within this group, representing many volunteers, representing indeed the councillors on this town council, who gives up so much of their time volunteering to provide what is a really great service to the people of Newmarket who find themselves vulnerable under these conditions. And I do my little bit, and it's always heartening to know when you talk to people how grateful they are that we exist, and we've been there since that first week. And I think that's the important thing. Other councils are now operating similar systems to us now, but they're 4 weeks behind the game. So that quick response was really good, and I propose that these minutes are noted. Is that seconded? Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak? Okay, all those in favour of noting the minutes?
Councillor Kirby wanted to speak, I believe.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Kirby.
Yeah, obviously your words were fine, but I do think as a group and as a council we have worked extremely hard and very well together. But I do think we have to give a lot of our praise to Douglas Hall, because without Douglas, a lot of this wouldn't have happened. Without his help, with the volunteers, organising them, we would have struggled, and he has played an enormous part in making this a success. So I think as a council, we should thank him.
I'm happy to second that.
Okay, it's a proposal that has been seconded. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, Councillor Yarrow.
Just a moment, I'll just unmute you, Councillor Yarrow. Sorry, go ahead, Councillor Yarrow.
No, I was just endorsing that, but I was muted.
Okay, certainly I agree with those words from our Deputy Mayor. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, all those in favour of our thanks to Douglas Hall for all his hard work. All those in favour now vote.
Okay.
Yeah, that's unanimous. Thank you very much. We now turn to item 15, which is the coronavirus financial update. That's page 41 of your pack of 110. Are there any questions to that? And Kathy, are you ready to answer the questions?
She will be when I've had a chance to unmute her.
Okay, any questions to Kathy? That's how much we spent so far on the coronavirus. We will be looking at what impact that has on our budgets under the next item, but that's a detail of how our expenditure has been so far. And any questions of the detail to our responsible financial officer? I can see no one indicating they wish to speak, and therefore we vote to receive these, I believe. Is that correct, Town Council Manager?
Don't need a vote.
Yes.
No, you don't. You don't need a vote.
Well, I propose that we receive them. Is that seconded? Okay, that is seconded. Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, all those in favour of receiving that, the financial update? Thank you very much. Anyone against? That's carried unanimously. Moving on to item 16. We're moving on to finance now. And the first item is to receive the minutes and recommendations of the Finance and Policy Working Group meeting held on the 11th of May. And they are on pages 43 to 45 of your pack. Can I have a proposal that we accept these minutes?
Can I just make a comment? Thanks.
Yes.
I pointed out that in working parties voting under Standing Order 32 allows for named votes, but I see that there are there's certainly one statement that recorded vote is not relevant at a working group meeting, so that's wrong. And there's at least two of those comments, so subject to that, and I suppose the outstanding question about whether or not it was properly constituted. But it's clear that committee working groups can have recorded votes, even though these minutes say that it can't.
I'm struggling to see where it is. Can you tell me the line?
Yes, if you go down under 2, under recommended, and then Councillor Hood requested a recorded vote, although it was noted this was not relevant at a working group meeting. That's wrong. And then when you go to the next under recommended, Councillor Hood requested a recorded vote, although it was noted this is not relevant at a working group meeting. And maybe, and then under the further recommendation. So, as I say, standing order.
Proposing to omit that phrase, correct?
I think that would be better because it's just wrong.
So omit everything from although to working group meeting in each of those. That's your proposal.
Well, I don't really mind. I'm just pointing out that it's embarrassing to have something quite so wrong in the minutes, but it doesn't make any difference if you don't want to take it out.
Well, it's your proposal. What do you want to do?
No, I'm drawing your attention to it. I don't mind one way or the other.
Okay. Well, if there's no proposal, it stays as it is.
The key point with these minutes is the recommendations and whether council is happy to accept them as resolutions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but also it's embarrassing for us if we have a statement like that that is just wrong. I don't know why we would have a statement like that in minutes that's just wrong.
Mr. Mayor?
Councillor O'Neill.
I was just going to say, I personally, I was voting in to chair that meeting, and I would say it was far, far more embarrassing that this was a working party meeting that should have been straight ahead and everyone should have been able to talk openly and discuss business. However, the existing chair of finance and policy did not speak at all. The deputy mayor, the previous deputy mayor did not speak, and the previous mayor did not speak, other than to say the same thing over and over again, that it wasn't a properly constituted meeting, despite the fact she'd proposed it. And I think that's the biggest embarrassment.
Well, I can respond to that if I may.
Yes, you may, of course, Councillor Hood.
Thank you. I think that is an embarrassing response, but the point is, it's strange to have in working group meetings 3 statements at least that are clearly wrong, but I'm very happy for them to stay in. I'm just pointing it out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hood. Let's just move to the recommendations. And I think the important point of this was that the working group was looking at what our current situation was, given that we know we'd had to spend money, our funds, setting up the response and the helpline. But when it was all considered, and we're very grateful to Kathy for putting together the numbers, in fact, the deficit on this year's budget, even given the considerable costs and the donations that we've made, is just over £4,000, which, given that we made an underspend of £40,000, I think it was last year, we could probably manage or indeed take it from our general reserves. I think that was a very positive thing, and it meant we can advise you as a council, and these are the essence of the recommendations, that although we've had this unexpected cost under a crisis situation, we will manage without much effect on the finances of the council. And although it means that the meeting wasn't as urgent perhaps as we thought it might have been, it is reassuring to know that currently the cost will produce a £4,089 deficit, which can easily be met from our reserves. So that's the essence of the recommendations from this working group. Now, the Town Council Manager.
I just wanted to add there that the £4,089 deficit is also in relation to the loss of income from booking and events that have had to be cancelled, and which have been offset by expenditure not needing to be spent because the events aren't now being organised. So and that's a large part of the that was a large part of the concern and the reason to look at the budget and the impact that was having.
Okay. We need to receive these minutes and approve the recommendations. Can I have a proposal on that? Thank you to Councillor O'Neill. Is that seconded? So we're receiving the minutes and approving the recommendations. Does anyone else wish to speak? All those in favour, please. Thank you for holding your hands up. And those against? Councillor Yarrow, I think you want to put your hand down. Thank you. Okay, did you get that, Town Council Manager?
Yes, I did, thank you. Were there any abstentions?
Oh, sorry, any abstentions? Sorry, apologies. There's 2 abstentions.
Councillor Holbert, how do you vote?
Against.
Against. Councillor Appleby? I don't know if he can hear us. Just, whether I don't know if he's muted or not. Just bear with me. Councillor Appleby, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I thought I was being victimised.
No, you weren't being victimised.
I'll vote for.
You're voting in favour. Okay, thank you.
Okay. We're going on to Part B, approve the cash books. Is that correct? Which starts at page 49. Town Council Manager and Responsible Finance Officer, do you wish to say anything about the cash books?
Yeah, I can talk through a few things. Just to point out in cash book 1 on the first page, we have received our full 100% precept at the end of April. There was some sort of talk about how with the coronavirus pandemic, how some councils may, well, precepting councils may not be able to provide some or all of the precept at the relevant time, but that hasn't been the case here. So we are fully funded for the year through our precept now.
Will we normally get the precept all in one go?
That started last year, so yes, we did, when the councils merged to be West Suffolk Council. Previous to that, we got it in
2 tranches, was it?
I think we got it in 2 bits here. Some of the smaller ones were done in 3 parts throughout the year. But now we get it all up front, and for us, with our cash flow, it's not much of an issue. But I think it's helpful to the really small councils who don't have a big precept to be able to hit the ground running at the beginning of the year. The other point to note on there is that there is a receipt there from Councillor Drummond's locality budget for the second speed indicator device, which I haven't ordered yet for obvious reasons. There's nobody there people aren't delivering at the moment, but that has come through. So thank you very much to Councillor Drummond. And I will get on and order that SID. And the idea is to have the 2 rotating around the various places in the town.
Could I just speak on that?
Councillor Drummond.
Yeah. One of the things that I had asked is that gets put, first of all, in New Cheveley Road. Okay, so if you could at least honour that. I think I said that in the actual application. It was an example that I gave as to why it was needed.
Mm-hmm. I'll make sure that is passed on to Gary. Okay, so carrying on through, I mean, if there's anything that you want to ask, please do. I'm just looking down. There's quite a few payments. This is April. Remember, we're looking at month 1's figures here to West Suffolk Council, because there's all the trade waste and dog bin emptying and that kind of thing. All of those have gone through in the first month, so there's quite a few bits there. You can see at the bottom of this page 2, there's the £5,000 gone through to Newmarket Festival as a payment. There is no, as we move on, there is no petty cash at the moment for obvious reasons. And then very little on the Barclaycard because just not operating too much at all on that. It's just some standing charges for a subscription we have, and various other miscellaneous items there.
So thank you very much, Kathy. Any questions to our Responsible Financial Officer? Okay, we have 2 things to do. We have to approve the cash books, so we'll do these one at a time. Can I have a proposal that we approve the cash books? Thank you. That's seconded as well by Councillor Kirby. And all those in favour?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That's approving the cash books. And then to note the income and expenditure for all committees for April 2020. Can I have a proposer? Councillor O'Neill, seconded Councillor Kirby. All those in favour of... Kathy, did you want to speak?
Sorry, I'll do that after you've done your vote, sorry.
Okay. All those in favour then of noting the income and expenditure?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Those against? Thank you. Kathy, what did you wish to tell us?
Something has come to light at the moment. You might notice as we go through, just noting if you, through there, if you go to the cemetery services.
Community services. This is on.
Yeah, which is on page 3.
Yeah, can you do page of the pack by any chance?
Actually, I haven't got Deborah.
No, okay.
On that.
Well, talk to us about.
I've got the old pack, so my page is on.
It's page 85.
Page 85.
It's community services. Is page 85 of the pack.
And then you go down to page 3 of that. So it's actually on the first page, yeah, of that. So you should be able to go down to sort of the second half of that page and you get the cemetery 202 cemetery section. Okay, if you look down to the costs, you can see here's our flint wall repairs that are ongoing. If everybody's aware, there was a couple of years this started, the flint walls, part of it collapsed. It's in a complete poor state. So there was a contract, a 5-year contract, that there would be 30 days each year done on this. And he usually starts in April each year, which he is doing. As in last year, this year, he has contacted us to say that he's doing 5 days. Sorry, it's 30 days. But there is some other parts of the wall that have deteriorated further, and he doesn't believe that they will last a whole year. So you have some possibility of collapse, and certainly the fact that he would need to come back within the year to fix them. So he's suggesting that, as he did last year, that we could consider staying on, because he's just finishing off there, and he could do it at the same contracted rate rather than his usual daily rate. Now, his daily rate is on the contract is £405 a day, and he's estimating that actually this would take 10 days maximum extra for this section, but it could be less. Now that would come to £4,050 extra. When I looked at what we've budgeted for that, for repairs and maintenance grounds, we do just have enough cover that in this year's budget, but there is a cemetery reserve of about just over 35,000. So really it's a case of whether you, the council, would think it would be a good idea for him to go ahead now or not.
Okay, hopefully you've all understood that. It sounds as though we have got the reserves to pay for it, and the point is to get the work done now while the working people are there. Anyone have any views on this? Yes, Councillor Hood.
Yeah, I think.
And then Councillor Kirby.
Yeah, I think we've used this craftsman to do the work on the wall over a number of years, and as I understand it, he does a good job for us, and so I personally think we should proceed with him. I don't know him, but I just know that we've had these, the Mayor will know, we've had these conversations about him before, and the necessity of somebody being a craftsman to get the wall back up as it should have been. So I can't see any reason not to continue with this.
Can I take that as a proposal, Councillor Hood?
Happily, yes.
Councillor Kirby.
I'm just going to reiterate what Councillor Hood said. You know, he seems to be doing a good job, and he's a craftsman, so we should continue using him.
Okay, it's been proposed and seconded. Town Council Manager.
Could I make a recommendation that Council agree that the extra over cost, more than what we've budgeted, could be paid from earmarked reserves, and then that leaves the remainder of that particular budget available for any other expenditure. We are only in month 2 of the financial year, and we don't know what other expenditure might be required for the remainder of the year.
You accept that amendment, Councillor Hood?
Yeah.
Yes, fine.
Okay. So the amendment is that we do agree to this payment, and that it should come from earmarked reserves. Anyone else want to talk? Okay, all in favour of that proposal? And those against? And any abstentions? I think that's carried. Thank you very much. We're going on to item 17, coronavirus government guidance. I think Town Council Manager, would you like to lead us off on this?
Yeah, this item is on the agenda just so that we can review the current operational, how we're currently operating as a council to determine whether or not, you know, we ought to stay where we are, which is with all staff that can working from home. So all of the administrative team are working from home. Current government guidance is that if you can work from home, that you should, and that you should stay at home as much as possible. And I just wondered if the council had a different view.
Okay, anyone got any views on this? Should we continue as we are? Councillor O'Neill, yes. Councillor Kirby?
Yeah, carry on.
Any discussion on this? I'm getting nods from people.
Yeah.
Councillor Hood.
Could I just ask a question? Perhaps the acting town council manager can fill us in with what everybody is doing. I mean, certainly people who can work from home are supposed to work from home, but could we just hear, given that we don't have events going on and probably councillors don't know what everyone's doing, be helpful to have an update.
I don't know that it's necessarily appropriate to be talking about individual staff members in a public meeting, but everybody is still working, apart from one member of staff. But it's that we could, if you wanted more information, arrange to have a human resources working group meeting to discuss what individual staff members are doing.
Well, could we just hear what people are doing, though? I'm not really asking about individual people, but we're not doing events, and I'm just wondering what, as a council, people are doing working from home.
Well, the events manager is doing lots of preparatory work for events that will be happening in 2021. Now that she's got more time to organise, to sort of work on that. So, you know, there's a lot of preparatory work for the carnival, for the Soapbox Derby, and for any other events that that may be planned for 2021. The administrative staff member is doing all the administrative work that's being passed on to her, answering the phone and dealing with all with inquiries and emails and sending out agendas and dealing with all of those. Minute taker is still taking minutes and sort of has been involved in adding information to the database. The finance officer continues to function as a finance officer, and I'm continuing as the acting town council manager to undertake all necessary and essential tasks on behalf of the town council.
So you're finding everyone's still as busy as they would be if they were working in the office?
I don't know that they are as busy as they would be if they were working in the office. I certainly am, and I know the finance officer is, but the other two administrative team members aren't necessarily as busy as they would be if we were functioning normally.
Is there some value in having a human resources working group meeting, which to report on movements towards normality, whenever that should be? Councillor Caesar.
Sorry, let me just unmute you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to suggest maybe this be the time to return to having full committee meetings, seeing as we can do that via Zoom. And just having a proper HR committee meeting rather than having another working party.
Well, if that was the case, then we wouldn't continue to have full council meetings twice a month.
But we could call a meeting, couldn't we? We just have to give enough notice. That's the thing. You'd have to give the 5 days clear notice.
It's three clear days notice. I think if you wanted to sort of change the way the council is meeting, I suggest that you kind of need to make a resolution to that effect. That, you know, having reviewed the current circumstances, you've decided that it's appropriate to return to the normal meeting schedule. Because you.
Yeah, I'll listen to what Councillor's got to say. Councillor O'Neill.
I don't think we need to return to everything just yet, but I think it would be quite good to return to having HR committee meetings. It's possible finance and policy, but I would think HR is probably a good bet. I would support that.
No, in fact, I'd like to propose that we add F&P. I wouldn't have thought we needed community services or leisure services
exactly.
at the moment, but if we had HR, F&P, proper council meetings and D&P, then we're on our way to hopefully getting back to the new normal.
Yeah. Councillor O'Neill, and then other people. I want to hear what other people have to say. Councillor O'Neill.
All I was going to say is we have 2 full council meetings a month, and we have 2 development and planning meetings a month. So it would be, I would propose we have development and planning followed by human resources one time, and development and planning followed by finance and policy the other.
I'm happy to second that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Councillor Caesar?
Yeah. Oh,
You're agreeing?
yeah.
Okay.
Agree to that.
Okay, does everyone understand? The councillor.
Yes.
All right. I don't think anyone else wishes to speak. The proposal is that we change our arrangements to include F&P and human resources following the development and planning meetings. And anyone else wish to speak? Okay, it has been, Town Council Manager, what would you like to say?
I would just like to say that if you wanted the first, if you want the HR meeting to be the first one that's held, if you want it to be next week, that gives us very limited time as officers to prepare the agenda. That only gives us tomorrow, and it would be helpful if we have just a little bit more time to be clear about what we wanted to include on the agenda.
Yeah, Councillor O'Neill.
Well, I would suggest that we have, is it week 1, development and planning, followed by HR, so followed by F&P, and week 3, development and planning, followed by HR? And would that give you the time if we don't have F&P next week?
So
the 8th of June.
Yeah, 8th of June would be the first. Depends which you consider the priority, whether it's HR or F&P.
I think HR is the priority, so we put F&P first, so that, and we don't have a meeting this coming.
So at the moment, you've got on the 25th, you've got scheduled a DMP meeting, which is next Monday. The following Monday is the 1st of June, which is the next full council meeting. The next available date is the 8th of June. So,
yeah, that's what we do.
So we have HR on the 8th of June after DMP, and then on the 22nd of June we could have F&P after the next DMP meeting.
22nd, was that?
That would be the 22nd, yes.
Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We would have had HR anyway, but judging by my diary on the 8th, so we're getting back into...
Yeah, I think it's a way to step back in. Is that okay then, Town Council Manager? That's manageable, isn't it?
Yes, that's fine, thank you.
Okay, so the proposal is to have a human resources meeting on the 8th of June, and then 2 weeks later have a F&P meeting, follow the development and planning. We know who's on the committees, so there's no problem there, and we will vote for chair and vice chair at those meetings. Okay, anyone else wish to speak? All those in favour, please.
Yes.
Okay.
And those against?
Thank you. No, I think that was unanimous.
Oh, right, excellent. Okay, moving on to the Memorial Gardens. And would you like to update us on this? Is this the Town Council Manager or the responsible finance officer?
You're the finance officer.
Kathy, would you like to update us on this?
Hello. When the Memorial Gardens was done over a year ago now, there was a 10% retention, as is the usual manner, which comes out to £11,033, and that's been held against any defects, and it's actually supposed to have been paid back in April. There was a problem with the splash pad, which has now been, it was delayed, but it's now been rectified, and I did put a photograph there that Gary took. Are we happy to release it now?
So the splash pad has been, Councillor Kirby.
I was just going to say, have we inspected the splash pad since it's been rectified, and are we happy with it?
The only person is the townkeeper who's been there.
The only person is who?
Townkeeper. Who was there when they did it.
Well, I would suggest that either the mayor or myself actually inspect it before we pay anything over.
I'm happy to do that. I can easily. Can we get in? Yeah. We can't get into the Memorial Gardens, though, can we?
Well,
you will be able to if you arrange to meet with the townkeeper. He's in there by arrangement.
Right, Tom. If we kept our social distance, are you happy to arrange a time?
Yeah.
Kathy, can you do that for us?
Yes.
I'm available pretty much any time. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
So, is the proposal? Is the proposal then so that it doesn't go on for another month because we are overdue as that?
We're looking for delegated powers to.
Subject to.
Town council manager.
Can I make a suggestion that you could resolve to agree to pay the retention monies, subject to satisfactory inspection of the surfacing by councillors Kirby and Jeffreys.
That was my intention.
Okay. Thank you. Did you everyone understand the proposal? Okay, I think it's been proposed and seconded. All those in favour, please.
Yes.
Okay.
And against? Abstentions? Okay. Right, moving on to item 19, Weatherby Crossing. We've had some stuff came through this afternoon, didn't it?
Yes, I do apologise. I do apologise that it came through late, but I was, as I stated in my email, I was waiting for confirmation from their end that they had amended the letter, but subject to that amendment, I was hoping that councillors would be happy to approve the terms set out, which appeared to me to be very straightforward. If you are happy to approve those terms, then I would sign that on behalf of the council as your proper officer. One of the key issues, of course, that has previously been considered is obviously the cost, the overall cost, and the hope that we might be able to get some support from other authorities. To that end, I in receipt of an email that was came to me via Councillor Kirby after he approached East Cambs District Council to see whether or not they would be willing to support. And we've had confirmation from the Acting Asset Information Manager at Cambridgeshire County Council that they advise that the County Council is supportive of the case for a public footpath to be recorded over the level crossing, and they're currently exploring what options are open to the County Council to lend its support, including possible financial contributions to an authority that is outside the bounds of Cambridgeshire, and will revert to Councillor Kirby as soon as possible once these questions about our governance have been answered. In the meantime, obviously, I've had received no information any support or assistance that might be forthcoming from Suffolk County Council or West Suffolk Council. I don't know if Councillor Hood has an update on that.
Not at the moment, no.
Okay.
So in the meantime, the amount stated in the letter, which is under the item at the top of the letter called "My fees for this work." So the £8,500 is the fee for basically covering the inquiry, plus additional costs for each particular day of £1,250. And what's not stated here is that in the original correspondence I had with them, they specified £2,000 of total cost for the statement of case. Now, the barrister is working on the statement of case. We've had two in-depth teleconferences with her, all the parties from our side, which included Councillor Holbert, Councillor Hood, Rachel Wood, Mr. Smythe, and myself. So she's working on that. She intends to have a sort of a draft statement of case for us to consider either by the end of play tomorrow or Wednesday. But the £2,000 statement of case figure is not mentioned under these fees, under the fees for this work, and I've asked for that to be rectified because otherwise we'll be charged a rate of £125 per hour. So it's not capped. Which is not my understanding from what they had previously stated.
Thank you. These are eye-watering amounts, but we know that we've got to fight this case on behalf of the residents of Newmarket and indeed the wider public in East Cambs. Does anyone wish to speak on this? Councillor Hood.
Yeah, not in relation to that, but in relation to our new town clerk, because I know our acting town council manager has spent quite a lot of time on this last week on those 2 calls, and I'm wondering, well, it seems to me that it would be really a good thing for our new town clerk, who will no doubt be here when the actual hearing takes place, to either join with Deborah or take it on as something, because obviously Deborah's had to learn about this from the beginning. So I just want to put that out there, because it seems to me that since we will be having a hearing later on when the new town clerk is in place, she would really needs to be able to get her head around this. So I don't know what the acting town council manager thinks, whether she's happy to continue, you know, spending lots of time on it, or whether she'd like to hand it on to the new town clerk.
Well, there is more that I need to update about the Wetherby crossing, and there will come a point in the not too distant future where I won't need to be spending a lot of time on it. It's just right at this moment, and my intention is to fully brief the new clerk, because, as you say, she will be in post when the inquiry is held. But I just wondered if we could first perhaps just discuss the letter of engagement, and whether or not councillors are happy for me to sign it on behalf of the council. And then I'll move on to the other areas that I need to update council on.
So you're looking for approval to sign the letter of engagement, but you are questioning the £125 an hour, because
I'm not. Well, the £125 an hour would stay there as just a statement of case itself. Should be a specified capped amount, which I'm just subject to that being included as an amendment in the letter. I'm asking for council's approval to sign this on their behalf.
Okay, I'll need a proposal. Councillor Kirby, you're proposing that we do meet these terms. Okay, is that seconded?
I think we've got
reluctance here, but I'm feeling we've not got much choice. Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, that's all then, Mr. Mayor, obviously on this, and we've got to go for it.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. All right, all those in favour then of signing the agreement?
Okay.
Thank you. Any against? Any abstentions? No. You wanted to add something else, Town Council Manager?
Yes, so there's more to report. The barrister recommended, because a large part of the case is going to be reliant on the historical evidence, such as the enclosure awards and acts and various legal acts. She recommended that the council consider appointing an expert witness. She gave me recommended somebody to contact who was unable to do it, but they gave me the name of another expert witness who I have provided all the information to, and she has now come back and confirmed that she is available on for the 28th of July, B, she would be happy to act as our expert witness, having reviewed all of the information to determine whether or not it was a case that she could take up. She has indicated that she would charge £500 a day and would need 3 days of preparation, and then 1 day attendance at the hearing, plus subsistence and mileage, and sort of, she said, reasonable expenses. So I'm assuming that's subsistence and mileage. So that would be an additional cost of £2,000. There's no VAT applicable. So I've discussed this with the finance officer, just because what you've just approved with the letter, you have budgeted for this financial year, but you hadn't budgeted for an expert witness. So we wanted to suggest that any additional funds coming from any additional costs for the Wetherby crossing could come out of the remainder of the other project reserve allocation. If it was considered that you wanted to continue with an expert witness, I think the barrister is feeling that it is strongly recommending that we should do that. it would work very favourably in our case.
I think yes, this is my own, but yes, I think we have got to. I know it's another cost, but obviously on this, it is an important thing of Newmarket. I think, okay, it is an extra money, but I think we've got to go for it. In other words, as I say, because Network Rail will put up a fight and we have got to match them. So therefore I suggest, yes, we go for it.
Thank you, Peter. Any other views? Councillor O'Neill, you're agreeing?
Yeah, I think we have to go for it. And hopefully we'll recoup some of that money through some other party. But I think we have to do it nonetheless.
Anyone else wish to speak? Okay, I think I'll take Councillor Hulbert as the proposer that we do spend this on witness, and Councillor O'Neill is seconding that. Anyone else wish to speak? All those in favour, please, of hiring an expert witness?
Yes.
Thank you. And those against? And abstentions? Thank you.
So there is more on this. Sorry.
No.
One of the things that's
final thing, is it?
No, unfortunately, no. There's just a couple more points to make.
Okay.
One of the points that came up in the teleconference with the barrister was one of the points about this particular crossing is that it's the third highest usage crossing in the country, and there are a lot of other crossings where this case is being looked at to see what the outcome will be. Effectively, it will be a test case. And the question was asked, you know, how far would the town council be prepared to go with this, so that should the public inquiry find in favour of Network Rail, would the council be prepared to consider taking it to the next level, which would be the High Court. So I just wanted to sow that seed because it's something that came up in the discussion. It's not something you need to decide at the moment. And if that was a requirement or something to think about, you probably wouldn't need to think about budgeting for that until the next financial year. But I just wanted to take that. Think about it for the next budget if necessary, and obviously hopefully by then the inquiry would be over and you'd have a clearer picture. Which brings me to the next item, which is in relation to the meeting that we had with the teleconference we had with the planning inspector on Friday, where the discussion was around whether or not to continue with the inquiry on the 28th of July. There were many factors to take into account. Network Rail are ready to go, and I think they're very keen and eager to proceed. Obviously, we've got considerable issues in gathering the evidence that we want to bring forward, including witness statements and evidence that's currently housed in record offices and libraries and the like, which obviously are not able to be accessed at the moment. For now, I mean, the current deadline is next week for the statement of case, but and I believe they've agreed to, for now, to continue with the current deadline, although they have agreed, because normally with the statement of case, you'd be expected to provide all the evidence with that statement of case, and they have agreed under the circumstances, agreed that we could have further evidence could be brought in at a later date if it became available prior to the inquiry. Although this does provide some issues because any evidence has to be made available to the other party, who has to have time to consider it. The planning inspector went through really quite a long, detailed review of all the elements. We were 2 hours on the phone with him. It largely comes down to whether or not the venue is suitable. And if we continue on the 28th of July, there has to be appropriate social distancing in place, and there have to be toilet arrangements that can be managed without too much difficulty, without cross-contamination, people using the same facilities. Obviously, it needs to be accessible, and it needs to have. The suggestion was if it had good IT connectivity, we could consider an inquiry which was sort of partially in person and partially virtual. But from the town council's team, we expressed the concern that a lot of the people who would be interested in attending the meeting are either not feeling comfortable about leaving their houses at the moment, and may still feel that way at the end of July, and or they're shielding, and or they don't have the capacity or the technological capability to be able to attend a meeting remotely. So I've been tasked with reviewing the existing venue, the capacity of it, whether or not it would be appropriate, whether we could set up a meeting in such a way that all the parties on both sides can social distance and there could still be good participation or attendance by members of the public, and if not, to potentially find an alternative venue. There are other things to take into account, for example, whether or not those people attending the inquiry would be able to have somewhere to stay, because it's still not even clear at this stage whether hotels and the like would be open. So the planning inspector hasn't made a decision yet as to whether to postpone, but we are trying to push him in that direction, because we just feel that it's at the 28th of July is still too risky, and there's a great deal of public interest in this inquiry.
Can I add something on that also, please? Deborah,
Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, as I said, obviously speaking with some people, a lot of them sometimes haven't got computers or anything like that,
no.
And they are not comfortable being on the phone doing it remotely. Also, it's taking the time, if you're the lockdown, of trying to gather information, because you're not really allowed to go and call on people or anything like that. So therefore, I hope that we do get some kind of extension on this, because it won't be actually playing fair with the people of Newmarket, because we won't be doing our job properly. So this is why I think we've got to go for an extension of time, because the people will not be happy. I would like to see the venue changed also. If it's possible, I'd like to see it at the Memorial Hall.
Well,
okay, Deborah.
Yep, that we can certainly look at the Memorial Hall as a potential alternative venue, but I mean that's the case that we've sort of been pushing with the planning inspector. We're hoping that he will come to that conclusion, but at the moment, the ball's in his court.
Any other questions to the Town Council Manager or views from councillors? That was pretty much an update, wasn't it, to Town Council Manager? There's no decisions to be made at this point.
No, it's just an update.
Okay, we'll move on. Any correspondence?
None, no.
None. Okay. Oh, sorry, missed out 20. I was jumping ahead. We have a new PCSO, is this correct? Bradley Rackham.
Yes, Bradley Rackham is your new PCSO.
And we have a report from the PCSO. It would be good to meet him, though probably when we're allowed to meet up. But it may be, if it's possible to attend one of our meetings, that would be good, I assume. Does anyone else wish to comment on that? Okay, well, we can send our messages of welcome to him. There are no correspondence, and therefore I think we've reached the end of the meeting, because the date of the next meeting is the 1st of June 2020. Thank you very much for your patience as we've worked our way through this rather long agenda and the difficult circumstances of meeting up. And I look forward to meeting you all again next week at the development planning meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Could I just
Manager wishes to speak.
Yeah, sorry, the DMP meeting will actually be on the 26th and not the 25th.
Of course, yes.
It's been pointed out to me that the 25th is a bank holiday. My apologies.
Right.
I keep forgetting.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Deborah.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night to everybody. Okay, good night.
Okay, good night.
Good
night.